The massive alien ship hung in space like a dark mountain. Admiral Vexthal stood on the bridge and watched the small blue planet grow bigger through the window. His 4 arms moved slowly as he checked the reports from his fleet commanders. Behind his flagship, thousands of other ships waited in perfect formation. The Zephyrian Empire had never lost a battle, and today would be no different. How many ships do we have? Vexthal asked his second-in-command. 12,000 warships, Admiral, replied Commander Kethmer, his voice filled with pride. Each one can destroy a city with a single blast. Vexthal nodded. The humans on the planet below had no idea what was coming. His scouts had been watching Earth for months. They had seen the primitive weapons, the slow aircraft, and the simple communication systems. This would be the easiest conquest in Zephyrian history. Send the surrender message, Vexthal ordered. Tell them to give up now, or we will destroy their entire planet. On Earth, Captain Jake Mitchell sat in the underground command center in Colorado. The room was full of computers and screens showing information from all over the planet. He had been waiting for this day for 20 years, ever since the first alien probe had been found near Jupiter. Sir, we're getting a message from the alien. Fleet, said Lieutenant Lisa Carter from her desk. She was young, maybe 25, but she had trained for this moment her whole life. Jake walked over to her station. What are they saying? They want us to surrender. They're giving us 1 hour to respond. Jake smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Send them our answer. Tell them we said no. Lisa looked surprised. Sir, there are thousands of ships up there. Our satellites count at least 12,000. I know how many there are, Jake said calmly. Send the message. The other people in the command center looked nervous. They had all seen the size of the alien fleet. It filled the sky like a dark cloud. But Jake had spent years preparing for this moment. He knew something the aliens did not know. High above Earth, Admiral Vexthal received the human response. He could not believe what he was hearing. They refused to surrender? He asked, Yes, Admiral. They sent a very short message. They just said no. Vexthal laughed, a sound like breaking glass. These humans are even more stupid than our report suggested. Begin the attack. Destroy their major cities first. When they see what we can do, they will beg for mercy. The Zephyrian fleet moved into attack formation. Plasma cannons began to charge with deadly energy. The aliens had used this same pattern to conquer 47 other worlds. It always worked the same way. Show overwhelming force, destroy a few cities, and the planet would surrender. But Earth was different. Captain Jake Mitchell watched the alien ships on his screens. They were moving exactly as his team had predicted they would. For 50 years, humans had been studying every piece of alien technology that had drifted into their solar system. They had learned how the aliens thought, how they fought, and most importantly, how they could be beaten. Activate the defense grid, Jake ordered, all around Earth. Thousands of objects that looked like old satellites and space junk suddenly came to life. Hidden weapons platforms that had been disguised for decades began to power up. The aliens had been watching Earth, but they had not been looking for the right things. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Brooks commanded one of the hidden stations orbiting the planet. His crew of 12 had been living in space for 3 years, waiting for this moment. Their station looked like an old communications satellite, but it was actually one of the most powerful weapons ever built by humans. Target the lead ships, Ryan ordered. Show them what human engineering can do. The first alien ships entered Earth's atmosphere, expecting to face primitive jet fighters and basic missiles. Instead, they found themselves under attack by weapons that used principles they had never seen before. Human technology did not work like alien technology, where the aliens had developed their weapons slowly over thousands of years. Humans had been forced to innovate quickly. Commander Beth Harrison, piloted her fighter through the battle. Her ship was small compared to the alien vessels, but it moved like a hawk among pigeons. The human fighters were faster, more agile, and deadlier than anything the aliens had ever faced. How are they doing this? Admiral Vextel demanded as his flagship shook under human fire. Their weapons are cutting through our shields like they don't exist. His tactical officer stared at the battle display in shock. Sir, they're using quantum disruption technology and gravitational weapons and something else I can't identify. That's impossible. These are primitives. They shouldn't even have spaceflight, but the evidence was right in front of them. The human weapons were not just more advanced than Zephyrian technology. They were completely different. Where the aliens had followed predictable paths of development, humans had found new ways to solve old problems. The battle raged for 6 hours. The aliens had expected to win in 6 minutes. Their plasma cannons, which had destroyed cities on dozens of worlds, barely scratched the human ships. Their shields, which had protected them for centuries, failed against human weapons. General Carl Johnson watched the battle from the Pentagon. He had been preparing for this war since he was a young soldier. Now, at age 60, he was finally seeing his plans come to life. "Sir, we're winning," reported his aide, Colonel Steve Parker. "Half their fleet is destroyed or disabled." "Good," Johnson replied, "but we're not done yet. Deploy the hunter squadrons. I want every alien ship that entered our system tracked and captured. They came here to conquer us. Let's show them what conquest really means." Admiral Vextel could not believe what he was seeing. His mighty fleet, which had never known defeat, was being destroyed by a planet they had dismissed as primitive. The humans were not just fighting back, they were winning. "Order full retreat," he commanded. "We must warn the Empire." But as the surviving Zephyrian ships tried to flee, they found human vessels waiting for them. The trap was complete. Earth had not just defended itself. It had turned the tables completely. Captain Jake Mitchell stood in the command center and watched the alien fleet try to escape. Some would make it back to their empire. That was part of the plan. He wanted them to tell their leaders what had happened here. "Sir, what are your orders?" asked Lieutenant Lisa Carter. Jake looked at the screens showing the retreating alien ships. "Let some of them go, but follow the others. It's time the galaxy learned that humans are not as primitive as they look." The great Zephyrian fleet, which had come to conquer Earth, was now running for its life. And humanity was just getting started. The alien ships fell from the sky like burning stars. Admiral Vextel watched his mighty fleet break apart under human fire and could not understand what was happening. His ships had conquered dozens of worlds, but these humans were different. They fought like nothing he had ever seen before. "Report!" he shouted at his crew. "How are they penetrating our shields?" Commander Kethmer looked at his instruments with confusion. "Sir, their weapons don't follow any pattern we know. They're using energy types that our shields were never designed to stop." On Earth, Lieutenant Commander Ryan Brooks smiled as he watched another alien ship explode. His orbital defense station had been hidden for 15 years, disguised as an old weather satellite. Now it was showing its true power. "Target their command ship," he told his weapons officer. "Let's see how their admiral handles a quantum disruption." Beam. The weapon fired, and the alien flagship shuddered. Its shields flickered and died. The humans had learned something important about alien technology during their years of secret research. The aliens were predictable. They used the same designs, the same methods, the same thinking patterns that had worked for thousands of years. But humans thought differently. Dr. Kevin Wright had spent 20 years studying alien technology in a secret laboratory under the Nevada desert. He had discovered that alien races developed their science very slowly. They found something that worked, and they used it forever. They never tried to find better ways. "Fire the gravitational lens," Ryan ordered. The weapon bent space itself, crushing the alien ship like a tin can. The aliens had never seen anything like it because they had never thought to try it. Humans had taken their basic physics and pushed it in directions that other species had never considered. Commander Beth Harrison flew her fighter through the battle like a dancer. Her ship was smaller than the alien fighters, but it moved in ways that seemed impossible. The human ships could turn faster, accelerate quicker, and change direction in the middle of a fight. "How are they doing that?" asked the alien pilot chasing her dot. His commander had no answer. The human ships seemed to ignore the basic laws of physics. They moved like they were not bound by the same rules that governed alien technology. The truth was simpler than the aliens could imagine. Humans had discovered that the laws of physics were not limits. They were just starting points. Where aliens saw rules that could not be broken, humans saw puzzles that could be solved. Captain Nicole Adams commanded a destroyer that had been disguised as a cargo ship. When the battle started, she dropped her fake hull and revealed weapons that made the aliens stop fighting just to stare. "Fire the exotic matter torpedoes," she ordered. The weapons used matter that did not exist naturally in the universe. Humans had learned to make it in their laboratories. The torpedoes passed through alien shields like they were not there, then exploded inside the enemy ships. "This is impossible," Admiral Vextel said, as another section of his fleet disappeared. "These humans are using technology that violates the basic laws of science." But the humans were not violating anything. They were just using science differently than anyone else in the galaxy. While other species had spent millions of years perfecting old ideas, humans had spent 50 years inventing new ones. Colonel Steve Parker watched the battle from his command ship. He had trained for this moment his entire life. His job was to coordinate the different human fleets and make sure they worked together perfectly. "Squadron 7, move to intercept the alien reinforcements," he ordered. "Squadron 12, protect the orbital stations. Squadron 4, begin the boarding operations." The aliens were shocked to discover that humans were not just defending themselves, they were attacking. Human ships swarmed over disabled alien vessels, cutting through their hulls and sending in boarding parties. Sergeant Amy Walsh led one of those boarding parties. She and her team moved through the alien ship like ghosts, using technology that let them walk through walls and appear behind enemy lines without warning. "Secure the bridge," she ordered her soldiers. "We need their navigation computers." The alien crew tried to fight back, but human soldiers were as advanced as human ships. Their armor made them nearly invincible, and their weapons could penetrate any alien defense. Within minutes, the alien ship was under human control. This was happening all across the battlefield. The humans were not just winning the fight. They were capturing alien technology and studying it in real time. General Carl Johnson watched the battle reports with satisfaction. Everything was going according to plan. The aliens had expected to fight primitives with crude weapons. Instead, they were facing a species that had turned warfare into a science. "Sir, we've captured over 300 alien ships," reported his aide. "Our science teams are already analyzing their technology." "Good," Johnson replied. "The more we learn about them, the better we can fight them." The human strategy was simple but brilliant. Instead of just trying to survive, they were using the battle to gather intelligence. Every alien ship they captured told them more about the enemy's strengths and weaknesses. Dr. Maria Rodriguez worked in one of the captured alien ships, studying their computers with excitement. "This is incredible," she told her team. "They've been using the same basic designs for over 1,000 years. No innovation, no creativity, just the same old methods." This was the aliens' greatest weakness. They had become so successful that they had stopped trying to improve. They relied on overwhelming numbers and proven tactics. They had never faced an enemy that could adapt faster than they could react. Captain Henry Foster commanded a group of fast attack ships that harassed the alien fleet like wolves hunting a herd. His ships would appear, strike quickly, and disappear before the aliens could respond. "They're trying to form a defensive formation," his tactical officer reported. "Let them," Foster replied. "We'll just go around it." The human ships moved in, patterns that the aliens could not predict. They attacked from impossible angles, used weapons that should not exist, and disappeared when the aliens tried to fight back. Admiral Vexthal realized that his fleet was not just losing the battle. It was being destroyed completely. Half his ships were gone, and the rest were being picked apart by human forces that seemed to multiply with every passing minute. "Order full retreat," he commanded. "Signal all ships to withdraw immediately." But the humans were not going to let them escape so easily. Human ships appeared all around the fleeing aliens, cutting off their escape routes and forcing them to fight. Captain Jake Mitchell watched the battle from Earth's command center. The aliens were trying to run, but his forces were ready for that. 2. He had studied alien tactics for decades, and he knew exactly what they would do when they started losing. "Deploy the pursuit squadrons," he ordered. "I want those ships followed back to their empire. It's time we paid them a visit." The great alien fleet that had come to conquer Earth was now running for its life. But humanity was just getting started. They had proven that they could defend themselves. Now they were going to show the galaxy what humans could do when they went on the attack. The battle for Earth was over. The war for the galaxy was about to begin. The alien ships ran through space like frightened animals. Admiral Vexthal stood on his damaged bridge and watched his fleet scatter in all directions. In 6 hours, the mighty Zephyrian Empire had lost more ships than in their last 50 years. Of conquest, how many ships do we have left? He asked his surviving officers. Commander Kethmer checked his broken instruments. "Less than 6,000, Admiral. Many of those are damaged and cannot fight." Vexthal could not believe it. He had started the day with 12,000 warships. Now half of them were floating wreckage around the small blue planet. The humans had not just defended themselves. They had crushed the greatest fleet in galactic history. "Set course for the nearest jump point," he ordered. "We must warn the Empire about these humans." But the humans had other plans. Captain Nicole Adams led the pursuit in her destroyer, the Relentless. Her ship had been built for one purpose: to hunt down fleeing enemies and make sure they never escaped. Behind her, 50 other human ships followed the retreating aliens like sharks, following blood in the water. "Sir, the alien ships are trying to reach hyperspace," reported her navigation officer. "Not on my watch," Adams replied. "Launch the interdiction fields." The human ships fired special weapons that created bubbles in space itself. Any ship caught in these bubbles could not jump to hyperspace. They were trapped like flies in a spider's web. "What is happening?" Admiral Vexthal demanded as his ship suddenly stopped moving. "Why can't we jump?" His engineer looked at the readings with fear. "Sir, the humans have created some kind of space distortion. Our hyperspace drives are completely disabled." The human ships surrounded the trapped aliens like hunters surrounding prey, but they did not attack immediately. Instead, they sent a message to every alien ship. "This is Captain Adams of the Human Defense Force." Her voice echoed through the alien communication systems. "You came to our world to conquer us. Now you will learn what real conquest looks like." General Carl Johnson sat in his command center on Earth and watched the pursuit fleets do their work. This was the most important part of his plan. The aliens had to understand that humanity was not just defending itself. They were sending a message to the entire galaxy. "Sir, Our ships have surrounded 3 alien battle groups, reported Colonel Steve Parker. They're requesting permission to board. Permission granted, Johnson replied. But remember, we want prisoners. We need to learn everything we can about their empire. The human boarding parties struck like lightning. They cut through alien ship hulls using tools that melted metal like butter. They moved through alien corridors using armor that made them nearly invincible. The aliens had never seen anything like it. Sergeant Amy Walsh led her team through the alien flagship. The corridors were designed for creatures with 4 arms, but the humans adapted quickly. They always did. Secure the bridge and capture their admiral, she ordered her soldiers. And be careful with their computers. We need that information. The alien crew tried to fight back, but human soldiers were trained for this kind of combat. They used weapons that fired through walls and armor that could stop any alien attack. Within minutes, the alien ship was under human control. Admiral Vexthal found himself face to face with a human soldier. The creature was smaller than a Zephyrian, but it moved with deadly confidence. Its armor was covered with symbols that meant nothing to him. "You are now a prisoner of the Human Defense Force," Sergeant Walsh told him through her translator. "Your ship and crew are under our control." "This is impossible," Vexthal protested. "You are primitives. You should not even have spaceflight." "We get that a lot," Walsh replied. "You're not the first alien to underestimate us, and you won't be the last." Dr. Kevin Wright worked in the captured alien ships with pure joy. Every piece of alien technology told him something new about how other species thought and fought. The aliens had powerful weapons and strong shields, but they used them in predictable ways. "Look at this," he told his assistant, Dr. Maria Rodriguez. "They've been using the same shield frequency for over 500 years. No wonder our weapons cut through them so easily." "It's like they stopped trying to improve," Rodriguez replied. "They found something that worked, and they never changed it." This was the key to understanding alien technology. The Zephyrians had conquered many worlds, but they had never faced real opposition. They had grown comfortable with their methods. They had forgotten how to innovate. Captain Henry Foster commanded the ships that were chasing the fastest alien vessels. His job was to make sure that no alien ship escaped to warn their empire too quickly. Some would get away, but only the ones that humans allowed to escape. "Sir, we've caught another group of alien ships," his tactical officer reported. "They're trying to hide in the asteroid belt." "Find them," Foster ordered. "Use the quantum scanners. Those rocks won't hide them from us." The human ships moved through the asteroid field like they owned it. Their sensors could see through solid rock, and their weapons could hit targets. Back were miles away. The aliens had nowhere to run. Commander Beth Harrison flew her fighter through the debris of the alien fleet. Her job was to rescue human pilots and capture alien survivors. She had been fighting for 8 hours straight, but she was not tired. This was what she had trained for her entire life. "This is Harrison to all units," she broadcast. "We have prisoners requesting medical attention. Send the hospital ships." The humans treated their alien prisoners with care. They provided medical help, food, and shelter. This confused the aliens, who had expected to be tortured or killed. They had never encountered conquerors who showed mercy. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Brooks watched the battle from his orbital station. The fighting was almost over, but the real work was just beginning. Now humanity had to decide what to do with their victory. "Sir, we're receiving reports from all over the solar system," his communications officer reported. "We've captured over 2,000 alien ships and more than 50,000 prisoners." "Good," Brooks replied. "Send the captured ships to the research stations. We have a lot to learn." The human plan was working perfectly. They had not just defeated the alien invasion. They had captured enough technology and information to change the balance of power in the galaxy. The aliens had given them everything they needed to become a major spacefaring civilization. President Lara Thompson addressed the world from the United Nations building. People everywhere were watching, waiting to hear what would happen next. Today, humanity has proven that we cannot be conquered, she said. But we are not conquerors ourselves. We offer friendship to all peaceful species, and we promise protection to all who need it. The message was broadcast to every corner of the galaxy. Any species that wanted peace would find allies in humanity. Any species that wanted war would find enemies they could not defeat. Admiral Vexthal sat in his prison cell and tried to understand what had happened. His empire had sent their greatest fleet to conquer a primitive world. Instead, they had awakened something that would change the galaxy forever. The humans had won more than a battle. They had won the right to take their place among the stars, and the galaxy would never be the same again. A human fleet moved through space like a pack of wolves. They followed the fleeing alien ships across 3 star systems, not to destroy them, but to learn from them. Every alien vessel that fell into human hands was immediately taken apart, studied and improved upon. Colonel Steve Parker stood on the bridge of his command ship, the Intrepid, watching his Marines board another captured alien vessel. His soldiers moved with practiced efficiency, securing the ship and gathering intelligence that would help humanity understand their new enemies. "Sir, we've accessed their main computer," reported Sergeant Amy Walsh from inside the alien ship. "They have star charts for the entire Zephyrian Empire. Hundreds of star systems, thousands of worlds." Parker smiled. This was exactly what they needed. The aliens had handed them a complete map of their territory, their trade routes, and their military bases. It was like being given the keys to the galaxy. "Download everything," he ordered, "and be careful with their prisoners. We need them alive and talking." In the research labs aboard the human ships, Dr. Kevin Wright worked with the excitement of a child in a candy store. Every piece of alien technology was like a puzzle that revealed new secrets about how other species thought and built their civilizations. "This is incredible," he told his assistant, Dr. Maria Rodriguez. "Look at this power core. It's been using the same basic design for over 1,000 years. They never tried to make it better or more efficient." Rodriguez examined the alien device with wonder. It's like they reached a certain level of technology and just stopped trying to improve. They became comfortable with what they had. This was the aliens' fatal weakness. They had been so successful for so long that they had forgotten how to innovate. They used the same weapons, the same tactics, and the same strategies that had worked for centuries. They had become predictable, but humans were different. Humanity had spent its entire history fighting wars, solving problems, and pushing the boundaries of what was possible. Where aliens saw established rules, humans saw opportunities for improvement. Captain Henry Foster watched the final group of alien ships disappear into hyperspace. Only a few dozen vessels had escaped from the original fleet of 12,000. He had let them go on purpose. Double quote, "Sir. Should we follow them?" asked his tactical officer. "No," Foster replied. "Let them run home. Let them tell their leaders what happened here." The surviving aliens would carry a message back to their empire. They would tell the story of how humanity had crushed their greatest fleet with ease. They would spread fear and doubt throughout the Zephyrian territory. General Carl Johnson reviewed the battle reports in his command center. The invasion was over, but the real work was just beginning. Humanity now had access to alien technology, alien prisoners, and alien intelligence. They had everything they needed to become a major player in galactic politics. "Sir, our science teams have made some interesting discoveries," reported Colonel Parker. "The aliens have been at war with several other species. There's an entire Network of conflicts out there. Good, Johnson replied. That means the galaxy is already unstable. We can use that to our advantage. The human strategy was simple but brilliant. Instead of trying to conquer the galaxy by force, they would use the aliens' own conflicts against them. They would offer protection to species that were being threatened, and they would punish those who tried to harm innocent worlds. Commander Beth Harrison led a squadron of fighters to one of the captured alien research stations. The aliens had been studying human technology for months, trying to understand how Earth's defenses worked. Now the tables were turned. What do you think they learned about us? Asked her wingman. Not enough, Harrison replied. They saw our old technology, our public broadcasts, our civilian communications. They never saw the real stuff. This was another advantage that humanity had gained. The aliens had been watching Earth for months, but they had only seen what humans wanted them to see. The real military technology, the secret research projects, and the hidden defense systems had all been carefully concealed. Dr. Wright made another discovery that changed everything. The alien computers contained detailed information about dozens of other species throughout the galaxy. Some were peaceful traders, others were aggressive conquerors, and many were caught in the middle of wars they could not win. Look at this, he told his team. The Zephyrians have been bullying smaller species for centuries. They demand tribute, take their resources, and treat them like slaves. That gives us opportunities, Rodriguez replied. We could offer those species protection in exchange for alliance. The humans were already thinking beyond the current conflict. They were planning how to use their victory to reshape the entire galaxy. They would become the protectors of peaceful species and the enemies of aggressive empires. Captain Nicole Adams interrogated Admiral Vextil in his prison cell. The alien commander had been shocked into silence by his defeat, but he was slowly beginning to understand the situation. Your empire made a mistake, Adams told him. You thought we were weak because we looked different from you. You never bothered to really study us. We studied you for months, Vexthal protested. We knew your technology, your military strength, your population. You knew what we let you see, Adams replied. You saw our civilian technology, our public communications, our everyday life. You never saw what we could really do. The alien. Admiral stared at her with growing horror. You mean you were hiding your true capabilities? We've been preparing for this day for 50 years, Adams explained. Every time we detected alien technology in our solar system, we studied it, improved it, and made it better. By the time your fleet arrived, we were ready for you. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Brooks supervised the dismantling of captured alien weapons. Each device was carefully taken apart, analyzed, and understood. The humans were not just copying alien technology. They were learning from it and making it better. Sir, we figured out how their plasma cannons work, reported his chief engineer. The design is actually quite primitive. We can build much better versions. Do it, Brooks ordered, and make sure our versions are twice as powerful. This was how humanity approached every challenge. They took what others had built, understood how it worked, and then made it better. They were not content to copy. They always tried to improve. The human fleet continued its hunt through alien space, capturing ships and gathering intelligence. Each victory made them stronger and smarter. They were learning the secrets of galactic civilization, and they were preparing to use that knowledge to change everything. President Laura Thompson prepared for the most important speech of her life. She would address not just humanity, but every species in the galaxy. The message would be broadcast on every frequency, transmitted to every known alien civilization. We are not conquerors, she would tell them. We are protectors. We offer friendship to those who come in peace, and we promise justice to those who prey on the innocent. The galaxy was about to meet its newest guardian. and humanity was ready to show the stars what they could do. 3 months after the great battle, the few surviving ships of the Zephyrian fleet limped back to their home world. Admiral Vexthal stood before the High Council of the Zephyrian Empire, his confidence completely destroyed. The proud warrior, who had led 12,000 ships to conquer Earth, was now a broken creature telling an impossible story. "Speak," commanded High Counselor Zarathek, her forearms folded in displeasure. "Explain how you lost our greatest fleet to a single primitive world." Vexthal's voice shook as he began his report. "The humans are not what we believe them to be. They are not primitives. They are something far more dangerous than any species we have ever encountered." The council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. How could one small planet defeat their mighty empire? "They fight like demons and think like gods," Vexthal continued. "Every weapon we used against them was turned back on us. Every strategy we had developed over thousands of years was defeated in minutes. They adapted to our tactics faster than we could change them." High Counselor Mordith leaned forward. "You are telling us that a species without interstellar travel defeated our battle fleet?" "They have interstellar travel now," Vexthal replied. "They took our ships, our technology, our star charts. They know where we are, how we fight, and what we fear, and they are coming." The council chamber fell silent. The Zephyrian Empire had ruled this part of the galaxy for over 1,000 years. They had conquered 47 worlds and controlled hundreds of star systems. The idea that they could be threatened by a single planet was impossible to accept, but the evidence was undeniable. Of the 12,000 ships that had attacked Earth, fewer than 50 had returned home. The greatest military force in galactic history had been crushed by creatures they had dismissed as primitives. On Earth, President Lavra Thompson stood before the cameras in the United Nations building. Her speech would be broadcast across the entire galaxy, carried by human ships to every known alien civilization. The words she spoke today would change the balance of power among the stars. "People of Earth and peoples of the galaxy," she began, her voice clear and strong. "Today we speak not as a single world, but as the newest guardians of peace and justice in the cosmos." Behind her, the flags of every Earth nation stood alongside the new flag of the Human Space Command. The blue banner showed a silver star surrounded by white doves, symbols of Earth's commitment to peace and protection. "We did not seek this role," Thompson continued. "We were forced into it when the Zephyrian Empire came to our world with conquest and slavery in their hearts. They found instead a species that refuses to bow, refuses to surrender, and refuses to allow innocent beings to suffer under the boots of tyrants." The message was being received on thousands of worlds throughout the galaxy. Species that had lived in fear of the Zephyrian Empire for centuries were hearing something they had never expected. Hope Commander Rick Taylor stood on the observation deck of the newly built orbital fortress above Earth. Below him, construction crews worked around the clock, building the next generation of human starships. These were not just weapons of war. They were exploration vessels, science ships, and mobile bases that would carry humanity to the far corners of the galaxy. "Hard to believe it all started 3 months ago," said Commander Jane Sullivan, joining him at the viewing window. "The aliens made a mistake," Taylor replied. "They thought conquest was about superior numbers and bigger weapons. They never understood that real strength comes from the refusal to give up." The human shipyards were producing vessels at an incredible rate. Using captured alien technology combined with human innovation, they were building ships that were faster, stronger, and more advanced than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Dr. Kevin Wright worked in his laboratory, surrounded by alien devices and human improvements. His team had learned more about galactic technology in 3 months than most species learned in centuries. They were not just copying alien designs. They were making them better. "The quantum drive is ready for testing," he told General Johnson during their daily briefing. "This will let our ships travel faster than anything the aliens have." "How much?" "Faster?" Johnson asked. 10 times faster than their best ships," Wright replied with a grin. "We'll be able to cross the galaxy in weeks instead of years." The human advantage was growing every day. They had taken alien technology and improved it beyond recognition. Where aliens had seen limits, humans had found possibilities. Captain Nicole Adams commanded the first human deep space exploration fleet. Her ships were preparing to leave the solar system and begin mapping the galaxy. They would visit every world that had been oppressed by the Zephyrian Empire and offer them something new, protection without conquest. "Sir, we're receiving responses to the President's message," reported her communications officer. 17 different species have asked for our help. "Prepare the diplomatic teams," Adams ordered. "It's time to show the galaxy what human friendship looks like." The human plan was working perfectly. Instead of trying to conquer the galaxy through force, they were offering alliance to peaceful species and protection to those who needed it. They were building a new kind of empire, one based on cooperation instead of domination. Admiral Vex Thul sat in his quarters on the Zephyrian homeworld, staring at reports from across the Empire. Everywhere he looked, he saw the same thing: rebellion. 17 subject worlds had declared independence in the past month, inspired by the story of Earth's victory. "Admiral," his aide announced, "the humans have sent another message." Vexthil accepted the transmission with trembling hands. The message was simple and direct, spoken by the same human who had defeated him in battle. "Admiral Vexthil," said Captain Jake Mitchell from his command center on Earth, "your empire's days of conquest are over. Any world that asks for our protection will receive it. Any species that chooses freedom will have our support. The galaxy belongs to all its children, not just the strongest among them." The message ended with coordinates and a simple invitation. "If your people choose peace over conquest, we will welcome you as friends. The choice is yours." Vexthil realized that everything had changed. The humans had not just defeated his fleet. They had broken the spine of his empire's power. Fear of Zephyrian might had kept dozens of worlds in line for centuries. Now those worlds knew that the mighty empire could be beaten. Commander Beth Harrison led a squadron of human ships to the Kelter system, where a peaceful species had been enslaved by Zephyrian forces for over 200 years. The Kelterans had sent a desperate message asking for help, and humanity had answered. "Sir, the Zephyrian garrison is demanding that we leave immediately," her tactical officer reported. "Tell them we're here to stay," Harrison replied. "The Kelterans have chosen freedom. We're here to make sure they get it." The human ships surrounded the Zephyrian base, and the message was clear. The age of easy conquest was over. From now on, any species that preyed on the innocent would face the wrath of humanity. Within a year, the Zephyrian Empire had collapsed. 34 worlds declared independence, and most of them joined the new Galactic Protection Alliance led by Earth. The galaxy had gained something it had never known before: a guardian that protected without conquering, that offered friendship without demanding tribute. And humanity, having proven they could not be defeated, turned their eyes to the stars with the same determination that had saved their world. The universe was vast and full of wonders, and now they had the freedom to explore it all. The invasion fleet had come to conquer Earth. Instead, they had awakened the galaxy's newest protector, and the stars would never be the same again.